Right guys, we're just down the local canal today. We're going to be showing you some tips and tricks in hopes that it might help you catch some more pike this winter. Stay tuned to find out more. Right guys, we're quickly just going to run you through some of the lures we're using today and differences in them and how you use them and stuff like that. We'll start off with this box here. These are only hard lures, crankbaits, spinners, stuff like that. As you can see, I'm dead organised. Start off. This, I had quite a lot of success on this lure. It's just a little jerk bait here. Now, if you notice on the front of this, it doesn't have a bill, it doesn't have anything fancy on it. It's just got two trebles hanging off the back and your tie-on point there for your trace. The top. Now what you do with this, you cast it out, let it hit the water, and then literally, as you're fetching it back, just give the rod a jerk, hence the name jerk bait. And as you can hear, it's got a nice big rattle in it. And as that comes through the water, it flails about and rattles. And all you do is give it a bit of a retrieve, jerk it, and then it'll sink, jerk, sink, and just keep doing that. It's generally all you do with the jerk bait, and try and work in different depths and stuff like that, and see if you can pull a pike out to take it. Then you have your baits, your lures like this, which this is a jointed plug. As you can see, it's got a bill on the front of it, which helps it dive in when you start winding in and moving the lure. Dives to a certain depth in the water, depending on the angle of the bill and how big it is. They'll dive further or and deeper and shallower. But as you can see, that's a jointed one, looks a bit like a minnow. And obviously in the water, with it being jointed, it gives it the extra fluidity when it's moving. But again, with these, you can just constantly retrieve them and it'll dive down to a certain depth and move just as it's going. You can start them. It's a sinking lure, this one, so if you stop, it will sink. And then you start winding. And yeah, it's the same as, they've all pretty much got the same basic principle for using them, apart from things like, that's another, there we go, use that one there for an example. There's a blue one there, but we'll use this one with being a bit of a brighter colour. This is a surface popper, this one. As you can see, it's got a big cave on the front of it there, which it floats. You cast it out, it'll sit on the top of the water. And as you jerk it back and work it back towards you, it creates a sort of popping action off the front where the water hits that. It creates a bit of a bow wave. And I've never really had much luck on them in the winter, if I'm being honest. It's more of a summer thing, I find. They take off the top more in the summer. But as you jerk it back and twitch it, it sort of sporadically moves across the top of the water, creating a nice big pop and a bow. And it just encourages them to come up and take it off the top. But as I say, I've never really had much luck. Like, there's a fire tiger version there. I've got a blue version there, minnow version. I've never really had much luck on them in the summer, in the winter, if I'm being honest. It's more of a summer thing, I find. And then you have, like, this lure here. This is a Shakespeare Big S. Now, I have had most of the pike I've caught on this lure. He's got a couple of teeth marks in the back of him there, and a couple in the front, but he's still in quite good nick. He is relatively new compared to the last one I had. And again, as you can see, it's got a bill on the front to dive down. This one dives to about a metre, 3 foot, something like that. But again, if you listen, it's got a nice rattle in it. And when you start cranking this one back, and I generally fish it on a constant retrieve because I seem to find that works best. But as you're retrieving it, it constantly wiggles and rattles all the way back. Now what you can do, as it's a floating lure, this one, so if you let it stop, it will rise, and then when you crank, it will dive back down. I seem to find when you stop cranking, that's when the pike will hit. So if you're moving along like that, coming down, you'll stop, and as it starts to float, that seems to be when I get hit the most with that lure. Now I don't know if that's just because of the water I'm fishing on, or it's just a general thing. I couldn't tell you, I'm no expert, but I just find that seems to be what works for me. Now with this type of plug, that's a Shakespeare one. These are a couple of different makes, but you get the general idea. There's a Shakespeare one. They all have a very, very similar action. They've all got, oh, this is why I eat trebles. They've all got a similar action. They're all full of rattles. You got that type. You've got the perch looking type there, again, with a bill on the front, which helps it dive down. That works about the same depth, that one. But then you can get the smaller plugs like this. Oh, I'm all untangled. Which do have, if I can ever untangle it, a jointed version. It has got the rattle in it, but it's also jointed like the silver minnow I showed you before. Which again, same basic principle as the other two plugs I just showed you there. As it's working through the water, rattles, but the back end, well, you can see there, if I just do that with the joint, and it gives the back end a bit more movement. But being honest, I've never had a pike take that lure since I've had it, and I have tried using it a couple of times. I don't know if it's just a pike where I live and where I fish or what, but I've never had much luck on it. But as you can see, it has got a bigger bill on the front compared to the other two smaller lures as well. I've got a bigger version of the perch one there, and a bigger version of the blue minnow. And then we get onto the likes of these spinners and things, which again they're really, really old style of fishing for pike, but they do work. Don't let anyone tell you they don't work, because they do. Literally, wire trace attaches there, and always use a wire trace when you're fishing for pike, guys. Don't try and do a mono, because its teeth will most likely cut straight through it. But as you crank this through the water, that blade, if I can get to spins round like that in the water, creating a nice flash, and that trails behind it. And as it's going through the water, that's sort of what the pike sees as it's flashing round and flashing round, and the pike generally just go bang, and that's when you set the hook on them. Now you can get these. There's a blue one there. You get them with all sorts of fluff on the back. That's a green version there with like a little purpley feather type thing on. There is a blue one there with blue feathers on with a pink and blue blade on it. There's a million and one different types you can use, but they all generally do the same thing. It's just whatever colour works on the day. If we move over to the soft box, now in this box we have all the soft lures. I mean, there's a million and one different types of soft plastics you can get. As you can see, I've got just standard shad type ones here with paddle tails on the back. Now you rig these up with a jig head. You literally just line it up, pop it through the top, hook sticks out the top, jig head's on the front. You attach your line to the jig head, and you just fish it through the water. You can called jig heads for a reason. You can jig them through the water, and it'll rise and fall, rise and fall. You can constantly retrieve them. There's a million and one different ways you can do it, and I'll show you them in later videos. But as you're retrieving them, the paddle tail on, well, you can see if I just hold it there, how much movement's in that tail. Even though stuff is a slight little knock, and that's what creates the vibration. That's what attracts the pike to take it, really. But you will get perch taking these as well. I've actually had a couple of £2, £3 perch take that one lure there. Again, comes in all sorts of different colours. You got the glittery yellow one there, your black and silver there, your fire tigery perch type one, your just general white one. What you can do though is you also get them. That's a paddle tail. This is a split tail. Now, as you can see, it's a very, very, very similar lure. Put them back. The only difference is on this one, where that one's got a paddle tail, this has got a split tail. Now, these are generally used more for drop shotting and stuff like that, for perch, but you can use them on a jig head if you want. It's personal preference, really. But again, you get that type. You get the green colour, the perch colour, black and silver. The patterns are never ending, to be honest. You'll never own every single pattern. And then you get the things like these big red ones, curly tail grubs. These are called as orange ones, yellow ones, white ones. And all these are, again, goes on a jig head, hook comes out the top, you work it through the water. Now if you fish these on a constant retrieve, this tail, again, just absolutely goes crazy in the water, spins round, does backflips, does pretty much everything bar stand on its head. And that they do attract the pike in. Now, I've only ever really had small pike on these grubs. As you say, there's big ones there in the back of the box here. I've got small silver ones, smaller green ones, some bright yellow ones there. They're just all different types. Never really had any big pike take them. But, you know, you never know. I might cast one tomorrow and end up with a £20 pike. Probably won't, but you never know. And then you've got more. Again, these all run off jig heads. Some small paddle tail minnows there. I think these are made by Havoc, these ones, if I remember rightly. I find they're better on rivers and streams than what they are on canals and stuff, though. And then you get... Now, the beauty of these big soft plastic lures, especially these ones, these are Savage Gear, these ones. They're called line through lures. Now, if pike takes that and you set the hooks, those hooks pop out and that lure slides all the way up that built-in wire trace, straight up to the swivel where your main line attaches to. So you'll be fighting the fish down this end where the hooks are. Imagine my fingers are the pike. That's going to be scraggling round down there. And this lure is nice and safely out the way, up the top. It's not getting damaged. It's not getting ripped apart by the pike's teeth. But the other added benefit of it is when if you get the pike in, which hopefully you will, when it's all said and done and you're unhooking it, you haven't got a big massive jelly lure sat in its mouth. All you're dealing with is the hooks. Now you can get it in the pike, there's a pike version of it there. I've also got the rainbow trout version of it there, which is another cracking lure. I haven't used this one yet, this is brand new. I haven't threw it in the water. My old one got the tail broke off. But again, as you can see, it's got the same sort of setting here, the treble clips in the bottom, and then you got your wire trace. And if you get a take, that'll pop out. Trout will slide up the line, and you've got a perfectly hooked pike, which is dead easy to untangle. And you've also got your bigger soft plastics like that, which I think this is a Berkeley powerbait lure. Again, just runs off a jig head, goes in the top, nice and easy. Nice big red paddle tail on it, which, as you can see, slightest little movement in the hand, and it goes absolutely bananas. Creates loads of vibration in the water. That's a perch colour. I did have a goldfish one, which was basically a bigger version of this little fella here. But I got snagged on a tree and lost him, and I've not replaced him yet. And that was a cracking lure, that for pike. You also get the green colours there with the glitter inside and that, which is added attractants. And that's basically it, really. I mean, you get like your jointed soft baits like these here. I think these are Savage Gear 4Play ones, which it's a jelly lure. It's just jointed. It's the same way the hard plastics were that I showed you. Just fit it on a jig head or on one of these lip skulls that's currently on that one there. That lip skull transfers over off that pin, and it'll work deeper, or you can work it without the lip skull. And as you can see, it's got loads of movement, twitches quite nicely, looks like a nice silverfish. And I have had quite a lot of pike on that as well. Only small jacks on that one though, which I don't know if that's just me or not. But yeah, let's get back to the video and carry on fishing. Things you want to be doing, whether you're going after pike, perch, sand, or anything like that, is you want to be looking for spots where they could be hiding. Now obviously you can't see that well underwater, even with polarising glasses on, you're not really going to see everything that's under the water. But if you look along the canal here, all the way down, start there, there's reeds there that I hardly expect a pike or two to be hiding in there, even if it's just a small jack. You've got the boats along the edges there, there'll be pike under there, because what they do, they sit and wait, and in the dark where they can't be seen, and when a silver goes past, bump out, grab it, goes back in and eats it. And all the way down there's boats, there's more boats down here. As you can see a bit further down on the bank there, there's that tree sticking out with more reeds sticking out. That's where I'm going to try next. And also along the edge of the canal. You'd be surprised how many pike I've caught just down here, literally just at your feet. Right guys, when you're casting your lures out, there's a couple of different ways you can retrieve the lure to try and entice the fish to take it. At the minute I've got a diving plug, it's a Shakespeare big S plug on the top there. I've just had a little jack on it down there. With diving plugs and stuff like that, you literally just flick the lure out to wherever you want to fish, and then just give it a constant retrieve all the way back until it's right in at the bank under your feet, and then lift it out the water. As you're doing it, just keep in contact with the lure. I'm using braid to make sure I can feel everything. Some people use mono. I personally don't like it because it's got a bit of stretch in it, and the braid's stronger. So if me lure gets stuck, I can bend the hooks and get my lure back hopefully, and just put new trebles on it. What you can do if you've got a soft plastic or a jig, something similar on, is when you're catching out, and you can do it with diving plugs really, because some of them float, some of them sink, so you can work different depths of water. But if you flick it out and just vary your retrieve, like just wind in a bit and then stop, slow it down, a couple more turns, a couple faster turns. But when you're doing it, what you want to be doing is making sure that your line is tight, because if you let line go slack like that, the minute a pike gets that, he's going to have this much room to play with it and feel it in his mouth, and if he realises it's a lure, he's got that much time to just spit it out and you'll never set the hook. So when you're doing it, even if you're stopping and starting, just try and keep that line nice and taut all the way back until the lure comes in your feet, and then lift it out and try again. Now what you can do, if you watch just down the water here, this is a floating plug, which means when I throw it out, if I wind it back, it'll dive to about a metre or so, depending on the bill that's on the front of it. And then if you watch just at my feet now, if I don't wind and let it rest, it floats back to the top. So what you can do when you flick it out, if you want to work different depths of water, I can cast out there, let it sink, wind it down, and I'm working right at the bottom of the water there now, all the way down the bottom. Now if I wanted to work shallower in the water, I can flick the lure out and wind nice and slow, nice and steady. But then after a couple of winds, just leave the lure and let it rise a bit further back up in the water, and then just carry on winding. Let it float, give it a wind. Now that's working right near the surface. Now I'm not expecting to catch anything near the surface today because it is bitterly cold. But it's just another tip you can try if you're not catching on the bottom. Right, so I'm going to have a walk down the canal now. That's just a couple of tips and tricks. I'm going to walk down the canal now and see if I can catch a few pike. Right guys, another good spot to try is bridges just like this one. We've just come across, we've walked from down there and we're going down that way. We've seen quite a lot of silvers topping and churning over the water in here. You will get pike and perch laying up near you. Yeah, I see one's just top there then, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. If you find the silvers, wherever the silvers show, you will find pike and perch, and this is a prime location. You've got all this overhang down here, all these trees coming off. All the way down, you've got all the bushes that other side of the bridge as well. So if you come across anything like this, best thing to do is just get your lure, flick it out, wind it back, and see if you hook anything up. I'm going to give it a go now. Guys, unfortunately we didn't catch any more pike during that session apart from the first one we caught, which we didn't get much footage of due to having camera issues trying to get the fish in and stuff. But we hope the tips in this video were helpful and hopefully it helps you catch some more pike in the future. See you next time.